Good morning, good morning, good morning. Lovely to have you all here. Welcome to everyone. Claire, lovely to have your camera on. Thank you. Nice to see you. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Can I ask you please to go ahead and switch on your cameras? It's comfortable. It's always nice speaking to faces. Good morning. Hi, Vita, Francisca. Wendy from Compass Fire, Jan, Zanele, Mark. Wonderful. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Lovely having you all. Thank you, Mark, for putting on your camera as well. Always wonderful speaking to faces. Just let me know, you can see my slides, you can hear me, and go ahead in the chat box. Let me know where are you dialing in from. We've got a few people here. Claire is a short-term insurance broker based in Cape Town. Hello, Claire. We've got Francisca from Santa Lena Bay in the West Coast. Stunning, beautiful. There we go. Cyril's added to read AI. All right, go ahead. So just to get, hi, Nadine. Oh, quite a few people coming in now, fast and furiously. Wonderful. Thank you for those with the cameras on. And it is 10 o'clock on the dot. Yep, I'm very much about timekeeping. And today is just something for you. Over to you, asking you some questions, allowing you the space to ask me some questions. I will do everything in the best power to answer them as much as I can. And it's just, introducing yourself. Let us know where you're from as well in the chat box. But today is just, saying, how can I serve? How can I help? So if it's what questions you have around business, leadership, mindset, and it's just a really open chat session. It is not a training session. It's just going, where are you stuck? What is the one thing you needing right now or your business is needing right now? And two ways that we're going to go about this. You're welcome to pop it in the chat box or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the questions as well. So just to introduce myself, I'm not going into a whole background about myself, but my name is Nicke. I'm a public speaking strategist. I'm also a TEDx Cape Town speaker coach, and I have 29 years experience in leadership. It's actually more than 29, but just 29 is my favorite number. And I just keep saying 29, and I keep forgetting to add on the years. Again, when people ask me how old I am, I think since the age of 21, I've been saying 29 as well. But starting in a leadership position from a very young age, and grew internal growth, working around the world in different restaurants in the Caribbean, back to South Africa. I've worked with Woolworths for 14 years, starting as a coffee shop manager and growing to the national customer service head. I also did all our leadership training. I wrote our training programs, our financial training programs as well, before joining the real estate sector for 16 months. COVID struck, got retrenched, started my own company, the Winning Attitude Skills Training. So that's my introduction. I am going to stop sharing right here. I'm going to open it up to you. And if you have any questions, I would love you to feel free just to raise your digital hand. I can unmute you. You can ask your question as well. And just see how best I can serve you. So Nadine, there we go. Thank you. First one. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Morning, everybody. Morning,
Good
Nicke.
morning.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful.
So I think I'm looking at the big aspect and the big scope of business. It's a very competitive world out there. Okay. So how does one differentiate themselves against the competitors that are actually not as good, if I can put it that way?
Okay, so that's really a great question. I would say, firstly, there's enough business out there for everyone.
Correct.
And that for me is so important. We think about the competitors. I know when I've started different courses and people going, oh, so many people do that. But look at restaurants. If you go into a mall, how many restaurants are in a mall and the competition is fierce? What makes you go back to your favorite restaurant? What makes you go and want to have that best experience? And it's all about the experience. It starts with building that relationship. And this is where it's very clear about having your value proposition. What sets you apart? What is Nadine? What is your business? What sets you apart to other people out there? And from that, what's setting you apart, how are you communicating that? Now, often what happens, and I picked this up in the business world, of we don't put ourselves out there enough. So how are people getting to know about you? Now, I know for one, knowing you, you've got your branded car, which is loud and proud and amazing. That is number one, putting it out there. But it's about people seeing that, connecting with you, and putting yourself out there and going, that's who I choose to work with.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. You know, it comes from building that relationship, from doing the first yes when a client says yes, from that first yes right through to the end of the experience. And then how do you maintain that experience with that client as well, that they don't think of anyone else, which is very important. I hope that helps you. Fantastic. Great question. Wonderful. Who else would like to go ahead and ask? You're welcome to follow on that. Lots of people coming in. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, this is a session open for you to ask questions. Please feel free to raise your digital hand. You're welcome to ask questions in the chat box, and go ahead and just be bold, be brave. This is not a training or session, but me to help you. There we go, Claire. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the areas that I find I am sort of really backward in is on the social media side, both in terms of I've started a new company, so there's although I'm still working in association with the previous one, but to create a new website, to create that awareness out there. I have no clue about Instagram and stuff like that. So I'd also like to create almost a training session for clients on YouTube, but I know that that's way down the line, but it is one of my aims that I'm working towards. So if you could give me any guidance on where, how, and what, and why.
Yeah, I love that. So what I would start with is, what is the one thing that needs doing? So if you look at your expertise, you're short-term insurance broker, that's your expertise. Focus on what you love to do and hire someone else to do what you don't. Now, the overwhelm that comes with setting up a business, setting up the website, setting up social media, I would say, firstly, just start. Now, something that's come up for me, I look at my company now is 5 years old next month. And I'm celebrating 5 years. So I'm super excited about that with the winning attitude. But when I look at posts that I did 5 years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I put that post out there. Oh my gosh, look at my coloring, look at my labeling, look at what I said. But I don't look at it with, feeling negative about it. I look at it going, look at my growth over the last 5 years, how I've grown. Now, often what happens when it comes to social media and putting ourselves out there is we don't start because we're not looking good enough. We're not sounding clear enough. Our photos aren't looking good. I'm going to be very transparent. Just before I started the session, I did a little quick video on my phone. And I was like, hey, going into the go-getters, ask me anything, first session ever. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, look at my wrinkles. I'm looking so tired today. Maybe I must just do this a little bit more and record it afterwards. What do? We so self-sabotage ourselves. But yet, our audience isn't looking at your wrinkles and your hair and what they're looking at, the value you're sharing. And that's where we say, just start. Now, I'm working with American coaches on my public speaking forum, and I'm still being coached because I'm consistently, a coach needs a coach, and it's always to grow. And the one thing that she said to us on Monday evening, again, was social media, because she posts 4 times a day. Now, that's overwhelming. And she said, for those who haven't started, start with 3 times per week. Just start. And start building up that social media presence. So choose your social media pages that you want to work with. Like, don't go with everything. I always say choose 2. So I do Facebook, which is linked to Instagram. I don't even know how to open Instagram. So when I get all those messages, if I haven't answered you, that's because I don't know how. So I just do my Facebook. And my second one that my audience sits at is LinkedIn. Have I mastered LinkedIn? Absolutely not. It's actually on my list to do right here at the top today. It says LinkedIn for May. Start prepping. In fact, I'm meeting with the LinkedIn experts at 12:15 today. So focus on where to start, see what you can do to learn that one thing, and just start. I do believe branding is incredibly important. In fact, I had somebody reach out to me this morning saying, who can I speak to regarding branding? So that, and actually my response to her was, that was the most amount of money I spent when I started up my business. I got somebody professional to build my logo to what my vision was, build my branding, my icons, my website, all that for me was incredibly important, because now 5 years in, I don't want to change my branding at all because I invested at the beginning. And I think that's important. So again, the overwhelm, write a bucket list. What's the one thing that you need to do? What's the first thing? Get your branding. Secondly, choose 2 platforms that you're going to start marketing on. And thirdly, just start. People want to know about you. People want to build that relationship with you. And one of the challenges our business coach gave us on Monday, and I've actually done it with my Go-Getters Mastermind this week, is said, all right, guys, let's start doing behind the scenes videos like I did this morning. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Let people know who you are and about your personality. I hope that helps. Fantastic. Great question. Awesome. Wonderful. I've got some there. Claire, it's overwhelming. Yes, Nadine. Your website's brilliant. Where would I find a good web developer? Do you have any recommendations? I'd like to upgrade my current one. Thank you so much. The gent who did my website, unfortunately, is not, I'm not in communication with him at the moment. However, the gent who did my logo, he builds websites as well. And I found him incredibly professional, Wendy. So I'm very happy to share his details with you. His name is Chris Pretorius, but he's based in Cape Town, although I never met him face to face. He was brilliant. And I also know quite a few other people's websites he builds, which is really excellent. All right, so I'm happy to share those details with you. Fabulous. Miss Sebi, go ahead, unmute yourself. And yes, camera on. Fantastic. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So my question is around the training, personal development, and all of that. As business owners or small business owners, how far, like, what would be your advice? How far does one go in terms of like spending in equipping or developing themselves? Like, knowing these days, like, there's information all over, like YouTube, podcast, whatever. Like, for you, or any advice that you can give anyone who's like starting up or like still smallish, when do they know that they need to pay a professional for whatever, whether it's training, coaching, mentoring, or whatever?
Okay, fantastic question. Thank you, Sebi. So I've been taught that whatever you earn, put 10% away to investing in yourself. And I think the important part of that, your camera's just gone off, Sebi, but that's fine. I think the important part there is looking at what's that one thing you need to do to start. So I remember when I started my business, I started 2020 when I got retrenched. I didn't have any money, got retrenched, new business, new company, COVID, everything went pear-shaped. However, I decided to focus on what did I need to do. And one of the things I needed to do, very importantly, was learn how to do public speaking, because I wanted to get online. And secondly, because I knew how to train face-to-face, I wanted to learn how to build my business online. I went on as many webinars, free webinars as I could, like this. What you do there is you resonate with different trainers and different coaches. You find people who speak your language is very important, because you want to feel like you can learn with them, through them, and not feel intimidated to ask them questions. And you find your person. But I know within the first year, I spent 40,000 Rand on different courses. I signed up to 10 different courses. My second year, I did exactly the same thing. And then you can also get stuck into doing courses about courses for the courses you need to do. And then that you also at some stage need to go, okay, no more studying, let me implement. And what I did then is I actually spent the whole 2021, 2022, both of them, both years, I did 10 courses each year. 2023, I was like, that's it. I am now going to put it all into application. 2024 is like, let me start again. So it's recognizing what you want to learn, what's the most important thing for you, finding the right coach who's going to help you. So mentorship and coaching is quite different. A lot of people in South Africa don't charge for mentorship. They charge for coaching. I would say when you're stuck, a coach needs a coach. So, I mean, I signed up with a business strategist for 2025 of how to elevate me to the next level. And I do believe it's resonating with the right person who can make you feel comfortable being uncomfortable to push you to the best version of yourself. I think that's really, really important. It's also surrounding yourself with like-minded people. But when you start feeling comfortable, either ask your coach to take the next step up with you, or sometimes working with different coaches is not a bad thing. I've got a couple of clients I've been coaching since 2020, and I've actually fired them. I've said, go and find another coach, and they don't want to leave. And I'm like, I've given you everything I can give you. Like, there's nothing, as I'm learning, I'm sharing. But what if you meet somebody who can just take you through to the next level? I think that's also important, of finding the right coaches and trainers. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just follow up on that?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
In terms of, okay, I don't know, maybe because in my space or what, or I have tried since last year to find a coach, Okay, firstly, finding a coach, is it someone, if we're talking business, is it someone who's all-rounded in business, or coach, look for a coach on a specific area? For example, you is it speaking only? Do you have a speaking coach? And do you have a business coach, for example, to say, okay, when do we scale up now? When do we how does that work? And also finding one, would you say going to these events, or searching online, or
So awesome. Thank you for that question as well. I think it's finding exactly what your needs are. So I do accountability coaching, and like you said, am I just a speaker coach? No, I do leadership coaching, I do speaking coaching, I do accountability coaching. So it's finding what your need is. Personally, for me, accountability works. So that's something I learned in 2019 in the company I was working in, that we did accountability meetings weekly, and that helped me elevate my goals, to set myself, high goals, but more importantly, pursue them. I started a 60-day challenge with, I opened it up to my network. I said, who wants to join a 60-day challenge? We joined a 60-day challenge. We started 3 weeks ago. And again, that's accountability of everyone staying on track. And a 60-day challenge is about consistently every single day. Have I fallen off the wagon? Yes. Am I human? Yes. I'm okay with saying that. So that depends if you want accountability coaching. When I think about which coaches do you want to work with, it's identifying what area in your life do you need. So a lot of my clients who I do coaching with, it will vary between personal, professional, and business and financial. I'm not a life coach. When it comes to coaching, my coaching as well is all internal growth of what I've learned working in different companies. I've never gone and got the coaching degree, but yet I've landed up in the coaching world. So I like to do a balance of coaching and mentorship. Coaching is very much about asking questions for you to get to the answer. Mentorship will help you get there, giving you the answer. I like to do a mix of both. So it's important for me for you to see your vision and where you want to go. And then, so even the accountability coaching, I have an accountability, so she's a friend. We actually meet every Monday afternoon for 30 minutes. She's in Canada, and we've now become accountability partners. So every week we meet and we have this discussion. We both do very much the same thing. So what is nice when it comes to leadership training and coaching is we help each other stay accountable, but also share ideas with each other. And I think that's important, starting a new business, like you said, it can be quite lonely. Also in a leadership field, it can be quite lonely. And that's why I've started the Go-Getter Mastermind for business leaders. And it's all different. Nadine's part of it, Anya's part of it. It's all you part of it. And it's all different people. Because what we do find is that we all sit with the same challenges. So my answer there would be, what is the one thing you feel like you need help with challenges, and then identify the coach that's going to help you get there. And again, I would definitely work on referral. I would work on who else have you seen out there doing incredibly well in business, and how can you get there? You know, speak to them as well. Who's helped them get there? That would also help. Perfect. Anything else, Sebi? That's great. Wonderful questions. Thank you. Thank you. And Anya, go ahead. I'm loving all these questions. Thank you. Morning, Anya.
How's it going?
Well, and you?
All
Just
right,
busy,
thank you.
don't worry about that.
So I've seen you interact with a lot of people, and which you're really good at. So I'm wondering, do you profile people while you're busy speaking to them to know if they're going to be a good fit for you for your courses, and then you offer them the course depending on what you read on them, basically? Or how do you determine who your buyer is, basically?
Okay, absolutely. So again, like my question I answered with Nadine, everyone needs the right audience to choose from. I do profiles. So, you know, doing the DISC profile training, as soon as I meet somebody, I can immediately see what kind of personality they are. I can adjust my personality to all 4 personalities to give you the best result. What is important for me, though, is I'm the right fit for you. So often, I think even when you and I met, I didn't just, you know, I've got lots of courses to offer. I didn't just come and get you signed up on the course. It's not like, here's my bank account, pay me, and then I'll have the discussion. It's actually, let's have a discussion and see if I'm the right coach for you. And are we going to go on this journey and resonate? And I think that's incredibly important. So often what happens in business is we're chasing money, and we know we're not always the right fit. And sometimes it's about saying, what is my best service that I'm going to offer the client? About a year ago, I had a lady reach out. She was South African, living on a mega yacht in Bali, and she phoned me and she wanted life coaching. We set up a consultation call. I definitely resonated with her beautifully. We had a wonderful call, but I knew what she wanted for life coaching without me being trained on life coach, and I prefer to use myself as business coach than life coach. I knew I wouldn't serve her. I wasn't the right person for her. And with that, I actually introduced her to 2 other life coaches. I said, go and have a meeting with them, have that, you know, get that feeling with them and see if they're the right person for you. And I think she was quite shocked. She was like, don't you want to work with me? I said, it's definitely about not wanting to work with you. I do want to work with you. But when she spoke about, at that stage, she was looking for life coaching. She was looking for leadership training. She was also looking for speaking training. I said to her, this is what I can help you with. I can help you with leadership. I can help you with speaking. The life coach journey, I'm going to recommend someone else. So these are your 3 options. Find out what's the most important for you to start with, and then let's work on a plan. Because if we don't do it right now, we can always do it later online when you are ready. And she was very grateful for that. She actually landed up signing up for all 3 because she was in South Africa for 12 weeks. But that was also her go-getter mindset of, I want everything before I go back onto the boat, and now I can leave my team. Yet, for me, it wasn't, I turned away a chunk of money, but it wasn't about money for me. It's about serving the right person. I think that's so important. Thank you. Great question. And sometimes people also come to you with a different level of expertise. You know, you need to, I always say, like even hosting webinars like this, you attract people that want to work with you and you repel people that don't. And that's also okay. I think one thing I often say to anyone I work with, not everyone's going to like me. I'm okay with that. Are you? So again, I work with people that like to work with me. And I, again, also work with coaches that I want to learn from, not people that kind of go, not my cup of tea. Because there are so many people out there, and that's okay. Thank you, Anya. Wonderful. All right, nothing in the chat box. If you feel free, don't be shy, raise your hand, digital hand, or welcome to pop it in the box. This is open, ask me anything. We've had some wonderful questions. And I think the beauty of this is how many of you resonated with each other's question? And can it help you in business as well? So again, lots of new people coming into the room. Welcome, lovely to see you all. Please, this is your session, not mine. not a training session. It's me answering to the best of my ability. Please feel free to open up. Ask any questions, anything, leadership, communication, business, accountability, mindset. If you've already asked a question, you're burning to ask another one, please feel free. You're welcome to. Mark, I know you emailed me your questions. Do you want to ask them? Wendy, I see your finger doing a little. Are you ready to no? Okay.
Let me shoot, Nicke. One of them has been has kind of been answered, and that was around customers, acquiring customers, and then retaining them as well, while attracting new customers, keeping existing clients happy. And I think we've spoken a little bit about some tips and tricks there, around why would clients come to me or to my section or my company rather than go somewhere else. And I think that's very good. The other one that we face all the time, we're consulting engineers, and that's keeping the business viable and afloat in terms of cash flows, budgets, managing expenses. Securing new funding is a big one, where we're finding, particularly in South Africa at the moment, it's not just us who's struggling. There's a lot of other businesses out there that are struggling just to secure new funding streams. And I think it's a lot about, what the country's going through at the moment, relationships within the country between different sectors and individuals and parties, but also internationally. And we're finding, like when the President of the United States coughs, we take a lot of strain in terms of funding. And I'm just wondering if there's anything either yourself or others on the call can suggest around this, just trying to, it's almost a monthly challenge to keep that balance between keeping on the right side of the budgets. So either yourself, Nicke, or maybe somebody else can contribute. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. I think that, it's so important where you speak about customer retention, because that also helps with budgets and planning. And one thing we often do, if you go back and look at firstly, how many of you have a CRM? How many of you actually speak to your clients on a regular basis? And when last have you spoken to a previous client? So if we're looking at client retention, it's maintaining the clients we have. But what about keeping clients close to you? One of my reasons for 2025 of launching Leadership Mastermind and Speak with Impact Mastermind and Go Get a Mastermind is keeping people that I've worked with close to me, that I can constantly work with them. And what I do find, again, it's firstly, I like to be surrounded with like-minded people, but secondly, it's client retention. And when clients retention, they're going to talk about me to others. And I speak about them too. So it's how we can help each other. I think that's very important. But just touching on client retention, and I know you wanted to move, past budgets as well. But if you look at client retention, because that's going to help your budgets. One of the things my business strategist said to me as well, said to our team, is every day you should be phoning 3 past clients, 3 present clients, and 3 future clients. And that was very eye-opening for me. I've actually added I've got a spreadsheet where I go back to my CRM system and go, sure, when I started my company, who did I train in 2020, 2021? Who did I work with? When last did I touch base with them? And often what we're so focused on is, I want to say, the next shiny object or the next client that we can get. But often we forget about the clients that we already have, that already know us, like us, and trust us. And that's important to focus on them purely for that. It's always looking out for new clients as well. I don't want to get into politics. And like you said, when the president coughs, everyone I feel at the moment, including myself, all my clients are struggling at the moment. And this is internationally. I think everyone's in this fear-based zone of what's going to happen. And I think the importance there of maintaining your excellent service with your current clients and previous clients is the most important part. yes, consistently looking for new clients too. But I think that also comes, when I read your question, looking about how do you do budgets, what do you cut back on? I think as business owners, we all consistently doing that. And we're trying to see, I think, one of the biggest stresses, we were talking about it last night, is how everyone's expenses are going up, but your salary expenses don't match that. Or for business owners, our income is not matching that either. And that's just showing the hard times we're in, which brings on another level of stress. So what is that one thing we can do to maintain what we've already got? And it is, I know when I worked with Woolworths for 14 years, budget cuts, the first thing they cut, excuse me, the first thing they cut was training. And I'd be like, how can you cut training? Because you have to maintain everyone's motivation and mindset to keep them positive, to keep working with your clients, to maintain the positivity. So identify the one thing that you possibly don't need right now, to save on where you can save, or how can you restructure to save on where you can save, so you can still invest in your team of what needs doing, but also looking at your marketing expense, looking at how to get yourself out there. So as much as you can be going through a tough month, how are you giving value? How are you putting yourself out there? And maybe it is exactly that of being more, shifting. I don't know how you do marketing, but shifting your way you do marketing, doing a lot more content creation, giving a lot more value, because that's what people want as well. But if anybody else would like to answer that as well, please feel free. Nadine says, great question, Mark. I totally get the problem. It's the opposition who have nowhere near the qualifications that we have, that will hop ship for a few pennies. So totally don't get this. And I know Mark's gone through that as well. But I do know that loyal clients will definitely stick by us and will at least give us an opportunity to renegotiate. Absolutely, Nadine, and you've experienced that as well. So clients work with you when they stay with you when they're happy with your service as well. But it is about staying top of mind all the time. Great question, Mark. If anybody would like to add there, Sebi, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Okay, as an accountant, Mark, I'll just jump into the course. Last week, Nicke, you called me in when I was like, this week I'm focusing on checking which subscriptions can I cut, because the cost, they just keep on going up. But Mark, what I can say is, if you do have an accountant, I would advise that you work with your accountant very closely. Me personally, what I have realized, as an accountant, is that previously we would come in only at the end of the year, doing financial statements for you, doing tax for you, and all of that. But these days, accountant is supposed to be a friend. Literally, when you are stuck, when you don't see what's happening month end and all of that, your accountant needs actually to even tell you that, be careful now, interest rates are going up, debt is going up, check that. So if you do have an accountant, make sure that you involve them in your day-to-day process of your business, which includes us as accountants, or me as an accountant. It's just not to only work with numbers, but just be open that, okay, how can you strategize with the business? Because we are at the back end, we know what's happening, or supposed to know what's happening as accountants, how it's going to impact you as a business owner in the future. For example, as an engineer, does AI take over or overtake you now, where people, they're doing things by themselves, AI, and not needing you? And how can you position yourself, rather than doing what you were doing, the consulting that you were doing, where people can easily get it on internet and all of that, how can you add more value? And how can you price yourself? There's a whole lot of things which accountants, they kind of supposed to be helping you with, if you do involve them in your business. It can be costly, but it can save you a lot. Honestly, it can direct your business into the right direction, and only working with them after 12 months when you're oh, your tax return is due, oh, your financial statements are due. Even with your funding, actually, the accountants are know exactly which investor is looking for what. what should you use? Should you use equity? Should you use loan? Should you find some grants and all of that, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say like find the best, or like use your accountant if if they're not able to provide those services, then find someone along that space.
That's a great answer. Thank you, Sebi. And I know my mother's a chartered accountant. She's also my accountant, which makes it fun. So I have to be very careful what I spend, when I spend. But exactly that, it's having that relationship where she goes, okay, enough going out for coffee now. Even though coffee is going out for coffee for me is business proposals, meeting with people and maintaining relationships. It is about having somebody in that relationship, exactly like you're saying, you know, holding your hand on this journey and helping you there as well. Love that. Wonderful. Thank you. All right, looking for more questions. How are you doing? What is something that's been burning? I hope you're helping or enjoying learning through each other as well. But please feel free to reach out. What questions do you have? We've got quite a few people in the video. Thank you, Claire. Go ahead.
I'd just like to elaborate a little bit on what Mark was also saying, because I think that he's in quite a difficult environment, if I'm correct. You're being pressured quite substantially by clients who are pushing your fees down, and in turn you needing to limit your liabilities and stuff like that. And I think that, quite frankly, I think the whole scenario that happened in George was actually, in a very ugly way, a blessing for the engineering environment, because it just shows what happens when you do try and limit those costs that you're spending on the professionals. And I think that it is important. We're in a very difficult phase, I think, from a BEE point of view as well. And it may be other ways of looking at involving BEE partnerships and creating that environment in the process, because I think that whole thing, at one point in time, there was quite a bit on fronting, and you can't front with a BEE partner, but they will allow joint ventures and things like that. So to try and get a better perspective on the BEE, I think could be a very good thing in your environment.
Wonderful. I love that, Claire. Thank you so much. Great ahas as well. And Mark, hope that helps you too. Excellent. Fabulous. Thank you. All right. Opening up for more questions. We have Roz and Jan and Francisca and Evita. Can we talk about social media marketing? Specifically, is it currently working, and are we seeing real results when it's in terms of leads or conversions? I'm wondering if we're using the right platforms and strategy, or is there something we need to reassess? Thank you again. I think the most important is asking yourself, well, who's your ideal client? And looking at who's your ideal client, where is your ideal client hanging out? That's the most important. Now, one thing when it comes to social marketing, I can share with you that this year specifically, I've had amazing leads just through my website. And generally, the only way people find your website is when you're marketing yourself. So it's how are you marketing yourself is for people to see top of mind, as well as my business only been coming up to 5 years now. A few networking events that I've attended. So when I say social media marketing, is about putting yourself out there on social media, but it's also about putting yourself out there at networking functions. And this is a time, I want to say a time, finding the best networking function can be the best thing for your time, value of your time. So finding different networking functions that has your audience in is also very important. But that is as good as putting yourself out there on social media. Now, I know, thinking about social media, like I said, my coach in America said 4 times a day you need to post. That is, we feel like, oh, we post 4 times a day or even 4 times a week. How many of us feel like we are, potentially stepping into other people's space and annoying them? Yet, think about somebody who does post a lot. How often do you even see them on social media? So social media marketing and the ROI of that is looking at what are you spending on social media marketing? What platforms do you use? That's important. I can tell you what has worked for me is Google My Business. And when I set up my business, I set up Google My Business. And let's rephrase, I did not set it up when I started my business. That's a lie. My coach then said to me, start it up, your most important thing. It took me 2 years before I started it because I just thought it was such a big venture to do. And when I finally put it down and I opened up my Google My Business, I think it took me an hour to set it up. I then paid somebody to do search engine optimization words on my Google My Business. And then what I've done since then is asked all my clients to give me reviews. Now, most clients, or I say 50-50 of them say, sure, no problem. The other 25%, sure, no problem, but they don't. And the other 25% don't always respond. They're busy, maybe they don't want to, or they don't choose to be out there. Whatever the reason is, focus on getting reviews. I will ask somebody once, twice, maybe 3 times, and then I'll leave it. But for me, it's not about give me a review so everyone can see how amazing it is. It's if I added value to your life, would you like to share that with someone else? And that's important. But my Google reviews, so the Google business page alone this year has brought me over 50 people, cold connections phoning in. And that's simply just from search engine optimization, typing in a word, and I've popped up. So definitely something to do. I have also now, out of those leads, converted 25% of them into sale. They're now working with me. Does that mean the other 75 aren't going to? They will, but some people, it just takes a little bit longer to keep warm. The second thing I do, and I'm using my experience as well, is Facebook marketing. And that's when I'm running masterclasses, webinars. I do a lot of Facebook marketing. I often look at it. So I've got it down to a click rate of about 5 Rand a lead for Facebook marketing. So a lot of you I may have met on Facebook marketing where we met for the first time. The others I've met at networking functions. So it's, I think Mark I met online. I'm just thinking out the top of people that I've met online. I think Jan, you one as well. And this is just coming through my Facebook marketing. So often what happens with that marketing is you put a budget together and look at how you can get your leads down as low as possible. Again, I am not a tech expert. So this was my first hire. A lot of people said your first hire needs to be a PA. My first hire was a tech expert doing things that I don't love to do. That is what she does. So she is my best investment per month. I give a budget, I put aside a budget per month on Facebook marketing. And let's just use it as an example of 5,000 Rand per month. Often what I'll find at 5,000 Rand a month down to 5 Rand a lead, those are people coming into my funnel. And yes, as you start, the funnels, with sales, people then start coming down into your funnel. And people drop off, but some people you keep them warm in your funnel. And that's the importance of having a CRM system. So they are captured in a funnel. Secondly, keeping them warm. And that is sending out newsletters, just anything of value. You're not always selling to them. Now, I learned 6 years ago from someone that you should email once a week. Not that your client will open up that email once a week, but think about somebody who does send you content every month or every week. What's going to happen? I'm going to use Wendy as an example. It's going to say, Wendy, Compass Fire. You don't even open up the email, you delete. But the next week, Wendy, Compass Fire, delete. Wendy, Compass Fire, delete. Wendy, Compass Fire, delete. Wendy, oh, wait, I need somebody from Compass Fire. I'm going into construction. That's who I need to meet. And there's Wendy from Compass Fire. So it's top of mind. And what was interesting this year, specifically for me, being at a few networking functions, is when I gave people my business card, they're like, oh, I get your emails every week. Oh, you, Nicke from the Winning Attitude. Again, first time it's happened this year. So it's taken 5 years, but it's about the consistency, which is very important. So again, find the thing that works. I have also launched programs. I previously worked with a conversion optimization specialist. He used to say, if we spend 20,000 and make 100, okay, spend 20,000 Rand marketing and make 100,000. Let's spend 40,000 and make 200,000. Let's spend 80,000 and double up, then make 400,000. And we did sometimes spend up to 100,000 Rand per month on marketing. So it's again, what's your budget? How can you get your leads as low as possible for your click rate? How can you get those people into your funnel? And then what value are you sharing to keep your funnel warm? I know a lot of you I might have met on a leadership masterclass. Often I find with my leadership masterclass, because it's a high ticket offer, meaning you come in for a free masterclass, I tell you about my course, which is a high ticket offer. Often people will sign up within 6 months. Very rarely do they sign up straight away because it's a high ticket offer. But if I'm offering something for 300 Rand or 4,000 Rand, I get a lot of signups. So depending on the price and where your client's at is very important. So definitely social media is important. I think choosing, again, your social media marketing. Like I said, I'm meeting with someone. I do feel my audience is on LinkedIn. I do not work LinkedIn as much as I need to work LinkedIn. And again, it's a time factor. And I think, what is more important? So that is my goal for May, is to have a LinkedIn Madness May. If you haven't connected with me yet, hold me accountable, connect with me, and let's do it together. But again, I think it's choosing your platforms. It's marketing, sharing about you, getting people to know, like, and trust you. Claire, you shared something about YouTube. YouTube is currently what I'm busy launching, my YouTube channel. YouTube is to educate. So exactly what you shared there with us, it's taking that snippet and saying, I'm an accountant and this is what you should be doing. Build a relationship with your accountant. That was valuable information. And every single one of you are experts in your field. So even if you do 60 seconds, 1 minute, or 60 seconds is 1 minute, 3 minutes, 2-minute reels, 5-minute reels, just go ahead and put it on your YouTube channel. So your YouTube channel is to educate. And often, you know, who here follows somebody on social media? You know, who's your guru out there? Who do you follow? You know, so my current coach in America for speaking. So even though I do my own public speaking training, I'm still being coached by coaches because I always want to elevate. But she sends an email every single day. And she writes so well that I never delete them. They just all piled up until I have a moment that I can go, okay, let me go read the last 3 emails. So think about, how are you chatting with social media? So Claire shared details with us. I will do. She does have a full-time job, so she only has limited clients outside of what she does. I have told her, because she is my right hand, my left hand, my voice. She is brilliant. And actually, I met her on my leadership course. She won it. And while she was working, doing my leadership course, she wasn't in that position. She got retrenched. I said, send me your CV. I've got a very big network. I'll share it with others. And when I read her CV, I was like, I want you. So she now works with me part-time, but she's absolutely brilliant. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Jan. Evita, hi, my business is quite new. Will be a year next month. Congratulations. Brilliant. Do I keep my services at a high rate for the value we provide, or do I lower my rate? So Evita, one thing I've learned is never, ever, ever, ever lower your rate. Rather focus on the value you add. Now, I learned this lesson the hard way, because when I started my business, I started at a low value and I slowly have increased it. Even though I've got over 30 years expertise, I wanted to bring in the numbers. And then I thought, well, if I just get 1 client at a high value or 10 clients at a low value, I'm earning the same amount. And how much more am I giving to 1 person than to 10 people? So recognize your value, recognize your offering, and focus on that. Sometimes it means saying no to a client, but valuing your service. Now, one thing I want to ask you, and this is for everyone, how often have we worked with a client for free? We've given them our time, we've given them our services, we go and do whatever it may be. And then afterwards, when they ask you for more advice, or you start carrying a little bit of resentment. If there's resentment, own it, because it was your choice giving it for free. So for me, never do anything that's going to build resentment. Know your value. Very, very important. It's very difficult to double up your prices very quickly. And that's something I've had to learn in my business. Starting at a low price in COVID and then doubling up and then doubling up and then doubling up. And yet, often what I have done at the end of a course, I'll say to somebody, what price tag would you value that course at? And most people will triple or quadruple my prices to what they paid. So look at the value you add and then take it from there. So know what you do, know your rates. You will attract your clients that know your value as well. So awesome. Well done for a year. That's amazing. Sebi, go ahead.
Thank you. My last question.
No, keep going.
So my first question is around market research. You know, there's this thing like now, just like research, test the idea and all of that before you dive into it or dive into a business or what, which I get to be a little bit confused around it because, for example, like I want to start a YouTube podcast, but there's like this noise like around market research, who really needs that and all of that. And the second part around it is like niche, like go down to your niche to the T and all of that, you know. Like I know sometimes it is said that if we don't want to niche down, it's because we've got a scarcity mentality. We like you want everyone and everything and all of that. But at the same time, like for my services, like everyone needs them, whether you are a bakery, whether you are a chef, whether you are like a spaza or anything like that. Like probably for most of us as consultants, you know, like we can like move around in like any type of business and all of that. So where does one keep a balance between the niching down and also the market research? I think that's been like a little bit overwhelming for me. Like I do like the normal clients that like business owners that I meet up there, tenders and all of that. However, when it comes to the social media, because there's this noise around market research, find your client, find your whatever, I'm like, who's going to listen to this YouTube? Who's going to listen to this podcast? So do I need to go down like and find out, would you listen to this? Would you listen to that? You know?
So if I ask you a question on that, if you do a YouTube channel, okay, so let me just ask in the group here, what Sebi shared earlier, how many of you could feel her passion? How many of you could feel what she was sharing? And how many of you resonated with that? That took approximately 60 seconds to 2 minutes that she shared what you're sharing with Mark. How many of you got value from that and would love to see more? Because I can tell you, there we go, Anya's raising her hand, you know, Mark's raising his hand, and you're welcome just to drop it in the chat box. There we go, Wendy's raising her hand. I can't see everyone else's, so the camera's off. But thinking about that, if I heard that, how many of you after today, if you thought, oh, I want to know more about what she does, and even though I've got an accountant, and it's my mother, what if things change in the future and I need someone? Who would I want to work with? Well, she added lots of value today, and I want an accountant who's going to be my friend. And she looks like a very good, friendly person who knows her stuff. Who am I going to follow? So right now, I'm going to follow you. You'll see me following you. But whether I watch you or don't watch you, I'm following you, and I'm watching what you're doing. And it may not happen right now. It may happen later. And what happens with that is we think about this funnel. So just on that funnel part, we talk about a funnel coming in, right? So we all hear about people coming down a funnel. So we're placing ads and people come into a funnel and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then people say yes. Often what happens with that is the funnel also goes outwards. So the people that say yes and stay in your network will recommend. In fact, Wendy from Compass Fire, immediately when Anya told me she was opening up her new business with a partner, I was like, I have to introduce you to Wendy from Compass Fire. Immediately I knew there's two people that I connect with. How many, Claire saying earlier now as well, Nicke, please send us your social media lady. I've said to her, you know, Nadia, if you resign from your job, I will make sure you earn double to what you're earning now. because she's so brilliant, everyone needs you. So often thinking about, who am I to set up a YouTube channel? Who are you not to do that? You're serving. And if you're doing it from serving, coming from contribution, that's what you do. You're giving value and people are connecting with you. I know in my short time working with you, I'm like amazed at your beautiful intelligence, your passion, your heart, your for what you do and how much value you offer every single time. I'm like, she would be my next accountant. That's it. Easy. I think that's important. And I've gone off topic and I've squirreled and I didn't answer your first question. Okay, marketing value. So marketing, research, and niche. So I'm going to be very honest and transparent. I struggle with that as well, because everyone needs leadership and everyone needs sales training and everyone needs public speaking training and everyone needs. But often what I find there, when you're talking about everyone needs, you can even market your target audience. So I do, and subsequently find that 80% of my audience has become real estate, even though I only spent 16 months in real estate before I got retrenched. So my target audience can be real estate, but I've also found people in, who attend networking functions need what I do. People in leadership attend what I need to do. So it's about setting yourself as an expert with what you do and sharing your expertise as well. I think when it comes down to narrowing down for marketing, you can have a specific market ad to this person, a specific market ad. Because even today, we've got so many different kinds of industries in the call today, which is great because we learn from each other. But if I said, all right, I'm only doing today social media marketing, you might have had a bigger number or a smaller number. I'm only doing real estate, bigger number, smaller number. So specifically, I don't want to say, only for, because what you do is open to so many, but you might say that you specialize in corporates, or you specialize in small businesses, or you specialize in entrepreneurs. That's where you're narrowing your niche down. Hope that helps. But I just see there's 2 questions in the group, in the chat box here. If you have a group of people in your circle and your offer isn't a match, do you change your offer to match the group or change your group to match your offer? Wow. All right. So I would say if you have a group of people, I'm just reading that, and that it sounds like a little bit of a, what's that, cat in the hat. If you have a group of people in your circle and your offer isn't a match, so I would specialize on what your offer is. That's it. So what is your offer? What are you an expert in? And I'm going to use this as an example. When I started my business, I wanted to join BNI, the business networking group, and there was a specific one I wanted to join. And I did have 5 different training offers that I did. That was my expertise coming from Woolworths, but I specifically wanted to focus on leadership. I couldn't join this chapter because they were leadership. So they asked me to change my niche to focus on customer service because they didn't have anyone with customer service. But that wasn't what I wanted to focus on. I wanted to focus on leadership. So I stood true to what I wanted to focus on and changed the group. So I think when you start changing everything you do, it doesn't set you apart as an expert in your field as well. So change your group. I would say specifically focus on what you offer, find out where your audience is and go and talk to that audience. So definitely, and again, that comes with networking. We should all be attending networking groups, but have you ever gone to a networking group and walked away and said, that's not my audience? And when I say that's not my audience, it's not that they're not my audience because they're not going to pay me. They're not my audience because I don't know if I can refer them as well. That's as important. So for me, it's how can I serve you and how can you serve me? Because it's going to be a 2-way street. And sometimes that means changing your group. So in the last 2 years, I've attended so many different networking groups, finding my niche, finding my group, finding my people. And again, depending on who you're focusing in on, it's also finding the people that have money that can use you. I mean, you need some great friends, not you specifically, like we all want great friends, but we all are looking for business. So that's when it comes down to networking groups or social media platforms, to come back to yours, Jan. Find where your people are and focus on that. Great question, Anya. All right, time for one more question. Experience that the people who push commission way down gives us real estate agents so much trouble in the specific transaction. Increase your investment in hair color, covering the gray hair. Thank you, Khada. Exactly that. For me, again, it's always about, thank you so much, Jan. It's always about recognizing your value and coming from contribution. I've started increasing my prices, working smarter, working with my clients who can afford me and want to be in my circle, but working a lot less. And what I'm doing in the background is spending half my time focusing on working in my business, training. So the other half of the time, I am now working on my business, which is creating social media content, launching my YouTube channel, strategizing of what I could do differently and better. And that for me has been a massive, massive aha. Realize your value and know how much you add and contribute, and that you're worth it. So I have loved spending this hour with you. I hope you enjoyed as well. This is something I would like to do on a more regular basis, of just, saying it basically, what needs doing, how can we help each other? Because often we find ourselves in a very similar space, irrespective of our industry and where we are in South Africa and internationally as well. So Anya says, I love my circle, by the way. I don't want to change it. That's perfect. But Anya, you're allowed more than one circle. Because I'm staying in your circle, but I'm not going to be going into construction. However, not yet, okay? However, meeting Wendy straight away was like, Wendy, Anya, you need to meet each other. So even though I'm still in your circle, I can refer you and you can refer me. So remember, your circle doesn't always have to give you money. They can use you as a referral basis, which is very important as well. All right. Fabulous. I hope you got lots of value from today. Thank you again. Appreciate all of you. I was very excited to spend time with you. Have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday and Wisdom Wednesday. I hope you walked away with one thing from today that you can take and apply to your business and to you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. Appreciate you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.